Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and in this video I'm going to actually do a pre-install of an install that I'm getting ready to do at Pleasant Grove this Thursday. So I'm going to hopefully do a much more detailed one since I'll be able to control the environment I'm in, and then kind of give you kind of a step-by-step of what I'm actually doing to install everything from beginning to end. So let's go. Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. Just your first time stopping by the channel. Thanks for stopping by, and on this channel we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, and if you like what we're doing here, consider becoming a patron or a YouTube member by clicking one of the links down below. So before I get started, I want to thank AVKANS for providing the PTZ. They are a company that I am now partnering with, that they want to help. They see all the stuff that I'm doing, and a lot of the installs now going forward are going to be using their PTZ. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a quick abridged version of opening up the PTZ to show you what's inside, and then we're going to cut over to doing all of the setup. So let's go to the overhead. All right, so like I said, this is the 20X PTZ that AVKANS provided. Pretty much the same fare, what it comes with, but let's go ahead and open this up. And you know what we got in here. Our manual, notes, power cable, but we're not going to be using that because we're using POE, which this one does support. Set this aside right now. What's in the other one? Got a remote. This one actually comes with an HDMI cable. Slick. I'm definitely going to be using that for right now. Now I want to give it to them. I don't know if all of them come with the HDMI cables. This one just did. Also have a very solid wall mount where we're definitely going to be using this. Set this right here. And we have ourselves the PTZ. Now I did cheat a little bit. I did open this up already. All right, so let's go ahead and take the cap off. And I hope I didn't misplace it. Normally these comes with screws to secure this to the mount. Thankfully, I've installed a bunch of these that I have some extras, but yeah, I must have dropped them or something, but please be mindful of that. All right, let's set this aside. Now, one thing I would say, when you have something like this, please do not hold it from the top like this. You can mess up the motors if you do something like that. Always hold it at the bottom, but let's take a look at the bottom and let's zoom in some. All right, so we got power, obviously, and actually this is a 30X. I thought this was a 20X. So this is going to be overkill for what they're using it for, but hey, thank you anyway. We got our RS-232, we got the selector back here. By default, it's set to 0. That means that it's going to pull its IP, I mean not its IP, but its resolution from the menu system, and that works especially very well when we're using the ATEM. HDMI out, SDI out, and Ethernet. This Ethernet is going to provide network access so we can connect to it, do menu settings, because you can't set the IP address and DHCP and stuff like that from the remote, so it's always good to have that. We're also going to be providing power to this, and the access for the controller is going to be over IP, so that way we only have to send one cable and the HDMI to this. All right, so let's go ahead and cut over to my desk where we're actually going to have all this stuff set up. All righty, so here's my designated work area for getting all this stuff set up. And these are all the supplies here that I have in my little rolling cart for them. So obviously all of this I'm not going to set up. We're actually going to be putting drum mics on the drums as well. And in the back seat of my car, in the trunk, I have a drum shield that we're going to be installing as well too. So In this install, you know what we're going with, the ATEM Mini Extreme. They don't even have a computer, I don't believe, but we are going to set them up in the future so that they can do this. We have our IP joystick that we're going to be using. Got a whole bunch of XLR cables. This is again for the drum mics and plugging everything else in. We have our POE Switch. We have our dual female XLR to 3.5 millimeter cables that we're going to be using. And I'm going to simulate my X32 that this is going to be connected to for that. We also have some 1/4 inch cables because we have, again, all their instruments are not connected to their sound system. So that's what's going to be important. So we have 2 direct boxes for the keyboard and the bass so that we can connect to those into the system as well too. So this isn't just an install. We're going to be revamping, at least connecting all of the audio so that it can be on board as well. Some more XLR cables. This actually came with the drum mics. Drum mic set right there. I'll set this aside. We have 2 150-foot fiber HDMI cables. One is going to actually feed a TV into the fellowship hall. This is going to be the other one that actually does for the camera. I'm going to use one of these, but I'm not going to unwind the whole thing. And I guess I'll use the other one to connect to my TV or something over here. Got my Anchor. These are my go-to USB-C cables. My Anchor, one's for that with a 1 terabyte SanDisk drive. Actually got a wall mount because this is going to be for the 27-inch monitor that we have here for the Multiview. Since it's limited space, we're going to mount this directly into the wall, and this will get this up out of the way. Typical Visa mount. And actually, I showed y'all the direct boxes, but actually those were the ones for Spotlight Deliverance that I'm going to finish up that install this weekend. That's what they're for. And these are the ones for Pleasant Grove. So all right, again, this is going to be a long video because I'm going to be talking through the entire process, and hopefully that helps y'all with everything. So first off, let's get this simple stuff out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and get the SanDisk out. Now this comes with 2 cables. I like to keep one of them. Actually, wait a minute, let me tell you back. Sometimes it comes with 2 cables. A couple of them I've seen they've changed. Okay, this is an older one. So what this is a USB-C cable, but then it has an adapter that will turn it into a connection that goes for the computer. So I normally just have it connected that way. So again, they have a computer, but I don't think it's nowhere close to being fast enough to do what it's needed to, but it's going to be enough just for us to have software for the ATEM. All right, so that's there. We'll make sure we don't misplace this because all of this stuff needs to go back in the box so that we can install it on Thursday. And actually, I have this exact same cable that's already connected to my X32. So they actually have a Allen and Heath, but again, it's going to be plugged into the speaker outs anyway, so it's going to be the exact same thing. So I'm not going to open this one up. I have the exact same cable. That's what I'm going to be using. All right. So our first thing is we're going to get our POE switch here. And I have power, just powering the camera right here. I'm gonna have that connected to this. Now, I don't get a big switch, mainly because this is a 1 camera install, and it has the joystick. So camera's gonna plug in, joystick is gonna plug in, ATEM is gonna plug in, and if they have a computer, I would plug it in there, but they already have one. So if they get a laptop, we do. And then I like these because it's color coded. They plug in the source that's coming from their router into this, which they only have DSL, but we'll plug into that and we'll go from there. So there's no confusing of plugging this into the wrong jack. So, and I wonder, should I put on my action cam so that y'all can see everything? I plan to actually do this in its entirety without doing a lot of edits, unless I flubbed or something like that, or if the phone rings or something like that. I almost didn't want to say that, because when you say stuff like that, then stuff like that happens. All right, so I already have a power plug right here on the floor. Plug that in, and we just got power. All right, I had some Ethernet cables already that were on the floor. So let's do the camera first, since we got it here. And do I have a tripod? I thought I had a tripod here I could use. Oh well. Gonna plug this up. Make sure that you have, and actually I do need to do that camera for that. All right, so we're just gonna connect that here. Make sure we flip on the power button. Very straightforward. And let's go ahead and connect the HDMI cable on here as well too. Like I said, I'm not gonna unwrap this entire thing because it'll be a pain to try and put it back in the box. It's already bad enough that I'm taking it out the bag, but. So I've used these up to 250 foot. You can actually get a 324 foot, I believe. I've never had a reason to use something like that length. All right, so when you get one of these cables, realize that they are one direction. So this is the display end. This goes into the ATEM, and source is what goes into your camera. So this is what's gonna plug into here. So let's take this cap off. And there we go. All right, and I'm just gonna unwrap this just a little bit so that I can plug this into the ATEM. So the only thing that's going to be mounted in the back is just going to be this one camera. And I didn't show you, we used this before at Signs and Wonders. We got these kind of cable covers that will grip onto the carpet. So all we're going to be hiding is one long Ethernet cable, which I have the Ethernet and box of Ethernet cable in the car, and this fiber HDMI cable. That's the only thing. We're going to come down the wall and then just hug the back of the church until we come to the front. All right, so let me set this aside. These, we don't have instruments. That's what that's for. All right, let's get our 8s in here. Get the connection in that they need there. And I'm glad I actually have not thrown all of these away, because when we take an international trip, it's good to have these adapters so that I can have them plugged in instead of me just throwing them away. Since I had predominantly been doing everything here in the United States. All right, got that plugged in. And I realized the PTZ isn't moving because I never plugged it into the POE switch. So we'll do that here in a second as well too. Get that out of the way. Get our ATEM. Let's plug that up. We got power. All right, let's get the other end of our Ethernet cable. And we're just gonna plug it in. Oh, let's see what the setting is. Default, yeah, I'm gonna keep it on that. Plug it on there. We got a light. And we got some motion, so there we go. All right, so now, let's connect the other end of this into the ATEM. Let me just slide this over enough so I can have my monitor here. Let's turn this so I can have some more room. Let's turn it right here. And we will connect to input number 1. The display end, again, is going there. All right. And we got that. And I need to have these cables hanging over just a little bit so I can have some room. All right. So I have my laptop here. I would use that for connecting and configuring the rest of this. So I'll just hang this over the side. And then when it comes to our SSD, it doesn't matter which one you plug it into. And you know it's working because guess what? It's formatted right because we got a green light, so we're good. All right, so now what I need, what did I do with that gift HDMI cable? Oh, I left it over here. All right, so this was the HDMI cable that was inside of the PTZ. Let's move this over here. Now I do have another HDMI. Actually, let's do that. I'm gonna unplug this. I have a shorter HDMI here. Since this is gonna be sitting right beside the camera, I will set it here. And do you see it's still working? I'm gonna use this longer Ethernet cable for the joystick. Because the idea, I want to set the monitor right there. Because I have a small amount of space to do all this stuff. All right, and again, because we're doing everything with POE, it frees up the need of having all these power cables. So I can get one surge protector like I'm using right now on the floor, and that will power everything, and then we just hit the off button and that will kill power for everything. All right, so take the little piece out of the Ethernet port there. Then we just plug that in, and when you're using POE, the power button does not mean anything on the back of this. So, got that all powered up. Alrighty, we gotta make sure we save these. Protect the cable. Alright, so the next thing we need to do now is we need another Ethernet cable for the ATEM, and then we're gonna open up the monitor. And I might as well use all these XLR cables that I got so I can bridge the gap all the way over here. This is now, I like these monitors first off because they're no frills, they're not very expensive, and it has speakers built in. So that's how I can hear what's coming from the ATEM off of this as well. So that's the reason why I like these. I mean, there are other brands that have monitors that have speakers in it too, but I mean, you're going in a price range that I think it's not really necessary. Because I can get these on a good day if they're on sale. I can maybe get them for $175, sometimes even lower, especially if I've built up enough credit when I order these. All right, so I need to slide my table forward so that I can have this cable reach. Let's slide all this stuff forward. Am I still in the shot? I think we are. All right, let's scoot all of this forward some. All right. Get this monitor here. Got the base. That just snaps in place like that. Got our monitor. Oh. And I can't line it up. Let's do it this way. Now, world is this not? There we go. All right. Take this stuff off. No need in saving that because this install is up the street from where I'm at, so it's not like it's really far away. And is the power cable on this side? Yes, it is. All right, there we go. I'm gonna plug in our gift HDMI. Right there. I'm gonna plug this into our HDMI 2, I believe. Can't read it from here. All right, let's give it some power. And there we go. So we got a feed here. Now what we need to do is, I have an Ethernet cable that's connecting to my network over here. And I'm looking over here, the camera's right there. I have an Ethernet here on the floor. That will be like me connecting this to their router, which will now give all these devices an actual IP address based off of how I have this set up. Now, I do need another cable so I can connect the ATEM. All right. So, connect the ATEM. So that. Now everything is connected. As you can see from here as well too, that the hard drive is showing up. We have all our connections. We have activity lights on every device, the line in, and the camera and joystick and ATEM. So now what we need to do is find this on, well actually, no, I was going to say we need to configure the joystick so that we can see the camera. So I'm going to try and do this from here and then switch over to the computer. So let's go to menu, and I got to get real close on this so you can see. We're gonna go down to set network, and we're already DHCP. So that's even better. So no big deal. So now we just got to go over to the computer, find the camera, and then get it configured. So let's go ahead and cut over to there. Alrighty, so we are back here on the computer, and let's actually go to the ATEM setup first. Because since I'm on the same network, this would be the exact same thing if I was having a computer plugged into it. Let's see if it shows up. All right, because that's mine that I'm on right now, and the other one is showing up with just a network, so the Extreme, so yay. But I don't know why I'm doing this, because we can't make these settings, but I think it's on DHCP because it already got an IP address. So we're going to have to jump back to that, but let's go ahead and switch it to Program and Preview. And the fact that I'm able to see it, it's already on the network, so we might have to adjust that, but we'll save that. Those settings are done. And let's go inside the ATEM software. Let me bring it over here. All right. So just like I was doing in the other video that I tagged up here, the live streaming with this, we're going to go through the same setups. So we're going to go here to the lower left, go to the gear. We're going to change this to 1080p 60. Set. This might change because I don't know the TV that they want me to connect to. So we may have to change the frame rate, or we might have to get another TV. If it's only 720p, this ain't going to work. All right. Next, let's go to audio, general. Let's set mic number 1 to line because that's what I'm going to connect it to the mixer. Multiview, I'm going to switch this to program preview and change this to camera 1, 2, 3, 4. I change this to media player, then change this one to audio because they're only using one camera and maybe a computer for this, but right now it's mainly just one camera. So that's going to be fine. Let's go to labels. We're not going to change these right now, but well, we can do that. And then that's mainly it. Let's save that. We got all our settings. So our multi-view is has been adjusted, so we're good. Let's go to our downstream key. Let's map this to number 2. And number 2 for our fill and key. This is going to be for lower thirds if they do that in the future. That's already set up. Now, one thing I didn't do in the other video, we go to output. We have your live stream. If you, I mean, not the live stream, your recording. If you want to give this a name, you can give it a name. Right now it's by default untitled, but you can do, I don't know, Pleasant Grove Baptist Church or whatever with an underscore. So every time a new video would add, it would append onto that. You can change that name any way you want to. Live stream, we'll pick wherever if we wanted to. I like to keep the display status on this right here at the bottom as well. It's going to show on the screen anyway. That part is fine. And most of the time I never really configure the downstream key number 2, but might as well do it as well too. Number 2, it's just going to black. So I'll actually have this pointing to our media player. So if we loaded anything like a bug, logo, whatever that we wanted to stay on the stream, we can use bug DSK2 for that. All right. All right, let's go to audio and let's turn on mic number 1 because that is the feed that's coming from our sound mixer. We want that to be on, and I think that's it. But, you know, let's actually change this. So we'll do this back PTZ, BCam. I'll call this computer PC. So we'll just have that just in case, because that's the only thing they have set up right now anyway. So if we went back to downstream key, there you go. And all that's good to go. So at this point, the ATEM is done. So we're going to come in here, File, Save Startup State. Now that is saved. Actually, I should have changed it. Let's do it again. It's set to Save Startup State. So now, if you look over there, now everything is set the exact same way. So when we power it off, it's going to come right back up with the audio set, our downstream keys set, name set, all that stuff is done. I'm going to have to do this again just to make sure that the ATEM is on DHCP. The vault. That is one of the settings that you need to have a USB cable to set. But this part is done. So what we're going to do is utilize a tool from PTZ Optics that works very well on a bunch of these cameras as well too. I think it is the upgrade tool. I think I put it under software. Yes, it did. All right. Open this up, and even though it's not on the same network in the IP address, if it's on the network, it should be able to scan it. Make sure I pick the right network, and let's do a search. And that was fast, because that was it. So let's go over here. Let's go to configure. Oop, right click. Configure, and I don't know why it has that IP address set, but we're going to change it to DHCP set. Okay, and there it goes. The camera has been rebooted, and then we're going to search this again and then get the IP address. Now, when I get there, I'm actually going to set the IP address to something as well as the joystick so that it always stays the same no matter what. Waiting for it to come back on. All right, the camera's back up. Let's do a search again. And now we're on the network. We're at 97. So let's come over. Let's come over here. And again, we're 97. So 192.168.0.97. Yep, continue. Default password is admin and password or admin. Yep, there we go. And there we go. All right, so let's go through our settings here. Network, okay. This is where we're going to change this later, but we want to make sure, I think on VIF needs to be on for this. So I'm just going to turn it on right now. Okay. Oh, and I need to change my times and everything. Time zone. What is it? I need to switch it over to Google's time server. Don't remember the address. Oh, well, that's simple. time.google.com. All right, we got that. Let's submit that. I'm making all these changes and we have to reboot the camera for it to be done, but let's do all of the settings so that they stack so we don't have to reboot it multiple times. I most likely am going to have this camera installed upside down just so I can have some more space. So when I get there, I'm going to log back in and flip both of these. Now this setting can be done with the remote, but I'm going to flip this when I get there. And I think that's it. And that's 97. Just remember that. All right. So let's go to system. Let's do a reboot. Boom. There we go. Now let's head back over and let's get the camera hooked up to the joystick. Alrighty, so we're now here. Let's go back to our menu.
You had one job. Just the one.
I see that. So what we're going to do now is do a search. No devices found. Interesting. All right, so it looks like I need to do a factory reset on the joystick. So it wasn't anything to do with the camera or the setup. So let's try this again. We're going to go to search. And there it goes. It picks up actually the camera. So let's go ahead and select number 2. I'm going to add it. Admin, that's the right password. Save, and it's been made. So now let's go to our list. And there we go. I'm going to change that because we definitely don't want that to be camera number 23. I can see that's camera number 23. Alright, so let's exit out of that. Yeah, I need to change that. I don't want that to be camera number 23, but as you can see, got our controls of everything like that moving around. So I need to come in here and change that. All right, so now I have changed it to the right port. So if I go to the list, you can see I just moved it to camera number 1. So now by default, when it turns on, it just connects because it's the very first camera. So if we move it around, you can see from here, tighten up on that vent right there. We'll zoom out, down, and around. So yep, so there's the camera I'm staring at right now is doing this. All right, so we might want to change the speed of this so we can get some faster motion here. But there we go. Alrighty, so at this part, we got this done. Now I do have a long USB cable, so I think I'm gonna do that instead of breaking out my laptop, even though my laptop is right there on the table right there. I mean on the chair. But let me get that. Alright, so we're here. So now we can minimize this. We're done with that. And as you can see, now we have both icons. So let's go back in here now. And yes, it is set up to DHCP. So woohoo, so that's good. So once we connect there at the church, I'm going to set this to a static IP address. I'll leave the ATEM on DHCP, but the camera and the joystick, I'm definitely going to put on an IP address set. So this part is done. So believe it or not, that is mainly it for setting up. Well, you know what? I didn't do the audio. So let's go ahead and knock that out as well too. All right, so here's my mixer. I'm going to turn that on. And if I drop down here so you can see, that's where we're going to connect. And like I said, have the exact same cables right there. But what I'm going to do is plug into out jacks 5 and 6. And we're just going to connect them all the way back to here. So as much as I wasn't going to do it, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to go ahead and use the cables that I didn't want to unpack. But might as well. All right, so this is a long run, so I am going to use at least 4 of these XLR cables that are going to be for the drums. So we just connect this into our mic. What I'm going to do is just connect this to our mic number 1, because that's the one that we have configured. That's why it's on right there. And then loop this over here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I got a bunch of these. Just going to connect these. Hopefully this is enough to reach all the way over there. And I did turn on the X32. Yep, that is long enough. So we are merely going to plug this in there, and we're going to do that again for the other one. So again, if you didn't have XLR, like I said, another option would have been the RCA. But since I saw their board, that was the easiest one, to be quite honest, was just for me to go with XLR. I guess I could have gone with 1/4 inch as well too, but like I said, this has been my recent go-to, because I used to use the RCAs for everything, but I didn't notice the RCA on the back of that Allen and Heath. So this was the easier thing to do. All right, now that I got everything plugged in and I got my cables up out of the way that I'm stepping on, let's go ahead and open up the X32. Now, this is going to be different than everybody else's. This, again, I'm using the X32, but something similar is the same. So we're just going to go to routing, and I'm going to make this really, really easy. We're using outputs 5 and 6. That's what we're plugged into. All I'm going to do is, if I was doing mains, I would just say I want the main left and right to go to that. Or since I have a live stream bus, I would say that those are the live stream. That was it. So now if I plug in my thumb drive that I had last time that has music on here. All right, that is there. And if we go to the live stream, go to my auxes, okay, USB is on. So if we play some music, I wasn't expecting it to be that loud, but let's go ahead and cut over to the computer. Over to the ATEM setup. All right, so as you can loudly hear, that's the audio that is coming from the speakers on this monitor that's coming in from the board. You can see that we're getting audio because that's what's coming in. Now, if I turn it off, now no audio is coming through. So now I do have a mic that's connected, but I doubt it's configured to pick me up from here. But now because it's set to auto start like this, every time the ATEM turns on, we're going to have audio coming in. And this is a basic setup, so I can move this, do whatever. If I had a computer plugged in, number 2 would be showing up. We can bring in scripture. You can use PowerPoint Presenter, Pro Presenter, whichever thing that you want to use. You can do that. Or you could have a presenter kind of like we did and use some of the OBS bundles that we've used. They're just the video assets. If you want to have a starting soon, a 5-minute countdown and all this other stuff can be done the same way. So I hope y'all like this long take of this, because this is really all I'm going to do outside of putting, and I have the screws in this bucket of stuff here of leftover stuff I have from different installs, and I need to find the screw. But either way, only thing different that we're going to do is mount that on the arm, use the flip it upside down so that the image will be inverted. Put it onto the wall, run the cables, make a hole in the wall so that the Ethernet and the HDMI goes out and into the back room, and then the other HDMI cable with the other HDMI out on the ATEM is just going to be routed through the ceiling, whatever, and go into the other TV. And that's about it. Link is down below to every single thing that we're going to be doing in this install, and let me know, leave comments down below. Is there anything else that you would like me to do? Because mainly this is the setup. There is nothing else to what I just did. Yes, we're going to test the internet and all this other stuff, but we tested that already when we were there, and they're using DSL. It's not fast enough. But if we had an internet connection right now, I could stream right now. I could record right now. This is the entire setup that's going to be done, and this is as simple as it takes to get started. So that's about it. Before I close out, thank you again, AVKANS, for the PTZ. So this was a mixture of an unboxing and actually using the device at the same time, and this is what's going to be installed at Pleasant Grove in Amelia this Thursday. So if you want any other information, want me to do an on-site, want me to come set up a system for you, or you can always go to my website, AJaytheCEO.com. I have a 2-camera bundle with everything included. You just got to hook up everything, and this is a video that kind of shows you the exact same thing we would do. The only difference we would have is have another camera hooked up, and that's about it. But you can find that information on AJaytheCEO.com. Look under hardware and bundles. More bundles are coming. If you're looking for those videos, that's also on AJaytheCEO.com, where you can just download the vMix bundles. I guess I should come up with a different name, but they're just videos, and we're working on some other assets, folks. So if you're tired of those ones, we got some more that are coming out. But if you want me to do a consultation with you, video, phone, want me to go on site, because we do travel, folks, you can go to ajhomes.com/consultations, and then somebody will get back to you. You can schedule something there. Me or D will reach out to you. But that's about it. I hope y'all like this type of content. If you do, I'd appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ, and we'll see you on the next video. Later.